Welcome to the channel. It's Jack, the muscle and mobility maker with Stronghold Strength and Conditioning. And today, I'm going to be taking you through a pre-deadlift mobility routine to get you squared away for that next session that you're going to be picking up some load. But before we get into it, make sure you take a moment, hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on future content like this. Every Saturday, I'm putting out videos showing you how to resolve aches and pains, prevent injuries, and overall optimize your performance inside the gym and outside of it in your daily life and routine. And it doesn't get better than that. So take advantage of it. Ready? Let's go ahead and dive into this one. All right, like I said, today we're gonna be taking you through a pre-deadlift mobility routine. Now, when I think about getting yourself prepped for a deadlift, what I see to be a couple very important components are going to be your ability to actually get down to the bar without breaking that spinal brace that you have, and overall your ability to maintain that core stability through the lift. So those are going to be the two main components that we're going to really be focusing on, allowing yourself to get to the bar with good, set, stable structure, and overall maintaining that stable structure through the lift. Those will be our focus, and what that means is we're going to open up that posterior chain a little bit, get into those hips a little bit, and overall look at your spinal organization and stability and give you a few exercises to address those things in an efficient manner right before you lift so that you can be well prepped going into it. So, ready? Let's go ahead and get into these exercises. We'll take a look at them. I'll talk you through them as we go, and you'll be ready to go from there. All right, the first thing we're going to do is open up some hip extension. One of the most common problems that you'll see in a deadlift is when someone gets to the lockout at the top, they actually extend their lumbar spine. And a lot of times this is because they don't have the hip extension and the function of the glutes that they should. So here, what I want you to do is place one leg in a band, step it back so that you're on your smallest toes. And we're going to focus on, first of all, controlling anterior and posterior pelvic tilt. And then second of all, contracting the glutes while that hip is in extension. We want to get a strong gluteal contraction for 5 to 10 seconds every time. Relax after that, and then repeat. You can spend up to about 2 minutes here if you really need to, opening that up if things feel tight on that anterior side of the hip. Next, we want to address that posterior chain. So we're going to turn that around, facing away from the band, still having it high up at the hip here. And we're going to take a deep step forward. So we're in a lunge position to the front this time. This time the banded leg is out front. And the whole goal is that the band is actually helping assist us into this hinge. So you'll notice that I'm very focused on my core staying neutral as I'm over the leg. I'm driving my knee forward and then allowing the band to actually pull me back into that posterior chain there so that I can feel that big stretch through those hamstrings, into the glutes a little bit here. And if I have good range of motion there, if that's easy, what I want to do is take this lower to the ground. Now I really like this setup because it also can challenge your foot. Now it's hard to see my front foot in this frame, unfortunately, but what really happens here is I have to work to keep my big toe, my first metatarsal, pinned down to the floor as I extend that leg away. Now the big thing you want to focus on is actually pushing the floor away from you with your quadriceps. So you're extending through the knee and flexing the quads at the same time here. And that's what's going to help open up those hamstrings more and more, is that concentration on the quadriceps actually. Now, if both of these are still too much, what you can also start with is more of a flossing type movement. So what I do is place a band low on a post, put it high in that hip crease. I'm going to hug my knee to my chest first of all, and then I'm going to interlace the fingers on the back of the leg right behind the knee and focus on, again, flexing the quadriceps as I floss the nerves here, but also get into that posterior chain some. So we're going to open up the hamstrings as we flex those quadriceps naturally, reciprocal inhibition. And again, this is an easier way you can kind of build up to the other two and work your way there. This next one may look a little bit intimidating, but it's honestly one of my favorites for a deadlift. What you're going to do is take a band around your lumbar spine and then hook it around your feet. Notice I'm going inside of my hips when I hook it around my feet. I'm going to lie back and get into the happy baby position. Why? Because the happy baby is essentially the shape of my deadlift turned over. And you're going to get some big eye-opening stretches along the hamstrings, along the hip there, especially into the adductor right inside. So what you want to do is get your shin vertical as much as possible if you're able to here. And we're getting the ankle over the knee. That's the ultimate goal. So if your angle is a little bit shortened at first, just know you want to work toward opening up those legs, getting them so that the ankle sits over the knee more. And I'm also very aware of what's happening at my pelvis. I want to make sure that I'm keeping my tailbone pulling to the floor, my low back pulling to the floor as I hold this position. Now the cool thing about the band around the lumbar spine is that it actually helps me engage my abdomen and brace my core, because otherwise it would be pulling my lumbar spine into a big arch. So we're getting a little bit of bracing work here as well. When you're done, just roll off to one side, take one band off a foot, and you're good to go. All right, now that we opened up that range of motion around the hip, we want to make sure that we're stabilizing around the hips and pelvis and engaging the core. So here I'm using a bent knee side plank with the top leg pushing down through the floor as the bottom leg opens up down through the floor as well. So we've got a lot of glute activity going on in this one. And then from there, I'm engaging the lats by pulling and rowing into a rotation each time. So here we're getting core stability, shoulder stability, hip stability, and this is honestly a favorite prior to a deadlift for that stability reason. Next, we're also going to do a couple offset deadlifts with a kettlebell and a band. Here I'm using the band to cue my lats, but I'm also using that offset load to get into those tissues on the opposing side. So the obliques, the QL, and we're getting those to fire well. Now I'm going to do a few reps to start, and then I'm going to actually do a hold and just focus on the isometric engagement. This isn't meant to exhaust you prior to your lift. All it's meant to do is help you feel the activation of those muscles in a way that's very balanced and potent so that it's ready to go into your lift that's about to follow. So feel it, don't exhaust yourself, use it to enhance your lift to come. All right, and there you have it. Some quick and efficient mobility work that you can do prior to your next session of deadlifts that will help you improve your performance overall. If you like this video, make sure you let me know by clicking that big thumbs up down below, and take a moment to share this one with a friend who is deadlifting, needs a little bit of help getting down to that bar. Maybe their range of motion is a bit limited when they're going into their lifts and it's impacting their deadlift overall. Pass it along their way, share the love with them. If you're somebody who's struggling with a current training ache or injury that stands in the way of maybe you deadlifting at your fullest potential or whatever exercise it might be, but it's hindering your intensity overall, shoulders, hips, knees, whatever you're dealing with, what I want you to do right now, if you're looking for direct help resolving that issue, is go down to the description, fill out a coaching application, and schedule a mobility blueprint call. This is our opportunity to get on a Zoom call together so that I could first of all take you through a bit of an assessment, gather the information I would need to tailor a program for you, and overall lay out the full details of your programming and coaching for you on that call so that we can get you back to training the way that you want to, at the intensity you want to, and heading in the right direction. So if that sounds good to you, head down in the description right now, fill out that coaching application, and get that call scheduled. Last but not least, if you have not already, make sure you take a moment and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on future content like this. Every Saturday, I'm putting out videos showing you how to resolve aches and pains, prevent injuries, and overall optimize your performance inside the gym and outside of it in your daily life and routine. It doesn't get better than that. Welcome to the Stronghold Army. We'll see you next week.